Hi everyone! Okay, so I'm going to try and film a process video today. I might have to come in and out of the room and record and stop recording, depending on how busy I get. I just wanted to show you guys the things that I pulled beforehand. As you can see, it's very girly because I was going to do a layout about my niece, the one that was just born. So let me show you guys what I pulled. Don't have a sketch for this, but I do have kind of an idea. I know it's going to be on white cardstock. This is a paper by Prima from the Annalie collection, and it's just going to be like a mat or a background for the page or for the photo. And then my idea was to make some of that ruffled trim, like from the Dear Lizzie line. So this is just some white crepe paper that I got, or streamer paper, I don't know what it's called, but I got it from Target. And so I want to ruffle that, and I wanted to do kind of an ombre effect in pink, so I have a whole bunch of different Mr. Hueys. I have a Piglet color, the Cameo, Boss Lady, and Pretty Pink. The Boss Lady I haven't sprayed yet, but the color on the bottle makes it look peach, so we'll see how that goes. And then I have these vellum butterfly silhouettes that I cut with my Tim Holtz die for a previous layout that I showed you guys the other day. So I have those ones, and then I have the Hamley screen print ones. I don't know if it'll make it on the page, but I pulled them anyways. I like to keep those just in case I decide to use them. I picked up some tulle from a garage sale, so I might use some of that. And then I have a whole bunch of flowers. Let's see, these are both by Prima. I don't know what colors they are, but this is the really tiny one. It's probably like the size of a dime. And then I grabbed a whole bunch of different hearts, or at least 3 different hearts. I'll show you guys here. The wood veneer by Studio Calico. Whoops. A heart clip by Pebbles, and then a Making Memories heart Brad. And then I pulled some doilies. I don't know if I wanted to use the small doily or the big doily that I have, so I haven't quite decided. We'll see as the layout comes together. And then I grabbed some other little things. I know I definitely want to use the flourish. And the reason why I'm showing you guys too, because I like to make a page for them and then also a page for me in my album here. And then some Recollections flowers. This is an older one. I don't have a name on this one. They're really tiny, little tiny flowers. And then some leaves with print on them. So that is my plan. And then my mother-in-law picked me up some of the stuff from a garage sale. I don't know what it is, and I know the lighting's kind of bad just because it's overcast since it's like 8 in the morning. But I wanted to use this pink trim here. I guess I can take it out of the bag and show you guys. So I wanted to use some of that, and it's got some silver in it. It's kind of shiny, so I might use that, or just the silver and white one. Haven't quite decided, so we'll see as we go along. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to make the other layout at the same time, or if I'll just make one layout and then go from there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the speeded up version of this process. Bye! Alright, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you guys can actually hear me in this video. I'm practically screaming at my computer just because I haven't had a chance to go to Best Buy and buy an external microphone. So hopefully sometime this weekend and then next week I can get it together and I won't have to be the crazy lady shouting in her house. So I went ahead and I sprayed the crepe paper with those different mists that I showed you, and then I realized I would have liked one more. So I ended up grabbing the plum thumb color, the Mr. Huey's, that one right there. And so I would have 5 different layers of colors, and then graduating like ombre effect. So And then I went ahead and I used my heat gun to dry them a little bit, and it didn't take very long to actually get them to dry. And if anybody else wants to like replicate this layout, just an FYI, when you go ahead and heat set it, it actually shrinks your crepe paper, so you have to expect for a longer strip of crepe paper. So, and here I am just going ahead and seeing what the colors look like and which ones I was going to put where. I cut my mat at like a 4 1/8 and a 6 1/8. Yes. And then I put all the layers underneath, and you'll see that I play with the idea of not ruffling it, and I've seen that somewhere, I don't know. See, I'm like overlapping it instead of actually layering it, and kind of think that that might be cute too. But in the end, I end up ruffling it. I might want to do that eventually. However, it was longer than a 12 by 12 or longer strip of paper. I went ahead and I put adhesive down on my mat so that I could go ahead and line up the ruffles. And I just put my ATG down on the actual mat. I'm putting glue dots in between the ruffles and realized I didn't need to do that until later on. So I do that, and like I'm saying, you don't have to put glue dots in between, because the ruffled paper or the crepe paper is so thin that it'll just lay there anyways. So I go ahead and use up almost an entire roll of glue dots using this. So good thing the expo is coming to town soon, because that's where I buy my glue dots, because they are so much cheaper there. I think you get like 3 boxes and you get the third one free. So alright, ruffling it up, and I kind of wanted to grab my sewing machine, but because I knew I was going to be filming, and I didn't have a lot of time to scrap, I just kind of wanted to get it done. The video is actually like 5 or 6 separate videos mashed into one, since I was in and out of my room. However, I'm really glad that I was able to finish it yesterday. So, and if I could ever figure out my sewing machine, I would love to make like a little shirt or a little onesie for her that looks similar to this, that can actually be washed in a washing machine, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, I think that's the last layer. I really liked how the colors looked up against there, and the last 2 colors on the bottom, the really dark colors, I can't remember if it's like Boss Lady or and the Plum Thumb, they kind of are very similar. And then the very top 2 are like a peachy color. I'm just flipping those over so that there's no overhang. And ta-da! I'm just grabbing some tissue paper to layer behind the photo so that it's raised off of the ruffle, but I don't have to use my dimensionals. So that was just regular tissue paper from the gift wrapping section of Target, I think. So I'm just trimming it up so that's not overhanging too much. And then I staple it together so that it can kind of stay down and not kind of like flap open, and kind of hold all the folds together. And then the tool was new, and that was such a pain in the butt to take off all the plastic. It was like wrapped around 3 separate times. Alright, what am I thinking? Oh, you know what? I think my phone rang in between this, and the kids were asking me for stuff, so there's a lot of pause in the video. I mean, it doesn't look like it because it's speeded up, but I think they were in the background talking to me about cars. I'm going ahead and distressing the edges of that strip of Prima paper. You barely see it, and all I really wanted was the fact that, you know, there's some green specks in there so that the entire layout isn't completely green. Or, I'm sorry, completely pink. A lot of pink going on. Definitely not used to that. I toyed with the idea of putting the tool just behind the picture, and then realized that the rest of the page needed something, so it just ends up going behind the mat there. It's such a soft pink, it almost looks white. And the only way you can tell the difference is because it's on white background, but on the white background paper. However, if I put it somewhere else, it probably would have looked white, which is fine. That means I can just put it on boy layouts and you can't even really tell. I mean, you can't even see it in the camera. Alright, let's see. And there's not a whole bunch of other embellishments on the page, just in like 3 separate spots, only because I thought the ruffles were enough. I'm just grabbing some yellow buttons for the page. I wanted to use all those yellow buttons, however, I ended up only using 3. I thought a nice cluster of buttons would have been nice. And I just leave it there for a minute, however, I don't end up leaving it there. So, I don't end up using those small tiny flowers as much as I had wanted to. I didn't want to add any other colors. Those are the canvas, or not the canvas, but they're kind of like a tissuey canvas type of leaves by Recollections. I had thought about using like a mat behind the initial for her name, and it just didn't work out. So I ended up cutting the doily in half and placing it behind the photo. And I wanted to use that entire flourish, but it looked too big, so I ended up cutting it in smaller pieces. There's that chipboard that I used in another layout recently where I just used all of those letters. This is the white color that I have. I have it in white and black left. And the sad part is there was only one K in this entire pack. There's like 2 X's and 2 Y's, but only 1 K. I was kind of disappointed. So I had to pull a different alpha for the second layout, which is fine. They both turned out really nice. So, trying to decide. I thought those were the same flourish, and then when I looked at it, they weren't. So, I ended up going with this one and just cutting it in half. And I bought this at the expo for like, I want to say $1. And because I don't put bling very much on my pages, like I always forget that I have it. So my bling and my flowers are usually kept in the same place, so I know where it is. And so when I pulled out the flower box, I was like, oh, these are perfect. They were kind of very delicate too. Like I pulled them off the plastic sheet and like they started to break. So that's obviously a sign that I don't use it enough. Just like I don't use this glue enough either. I use it for the smaller flowers, but end up having to pull out my glue gun to actually glue down the big pink flower, since it was a little bit more difficult. So I hardly ever use it. I would love to use it more often. It's just that my desk is crowded enough, so I don't hardly ever pull it out. So just cutting the doily and shifting it around, seeing where I want it. I made a similar layout like this for my older niece when she was born, so it's nice that in their albums they are similar. See, I tried the cluster work and it was just too much. Too much yellow, even though there was no yellow anywhere else on the page. So I just go with 3 of them. There, I only used one of the vellum butterflies, and it's, can't really see it, but it's just clipped underneath the heart clip there, and I put adhesive behind where I put the wood veneer heart. So, and then the brad is there as well to keep it in place, since it's a larger piece of vellum. I don't end up using the blue ones. I just end up using that one leftover one by Dear Lizzie. I'm just putting my buttons down and fumbling with where I want to place it. And then I have two other things. So a bling shaped heart and a sequin that I put there. And then I ended up with the silver and white trim, and I just used my glue dots to kind of look like it was flowing through the page behind the mat there. I love how it turned out. And I didn't get to film it, but my journaling went underneath the photo in a strip, and I used my typewriter for that. I tried to film it, and it made the for some reason it just didn't work out. I think my battery filled up, and I missed like half of it, so. And that is the last of the embellishments, I am almost positive. Well, I hope this worked out a lot better for everybody, and if you can hear me, great. If you can't, I am going to go to Best Buy this weekend, I promise. If not, I'm just going to end up putting music in this section. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. Bye!